Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Please silence all cell phones until after Jumah. Please. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, mashallah. Thank you.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ashhadu la ilaha illallah.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala الفلاح
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي الله الفلاح.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا
الله أكبر،
الله أكبر، الله أكبر.
لا
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. تبارك في قول الخير وأسفار طريق وأسفار طريق صلى الله عليه وسلم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nastahdi. Wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fahuwal muhtad wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lahu
وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وعلى أهله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Dear Muslims, dear believers, dear those who exceed the boundaries of good to do the extra, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we greet our viewers, listeners, participants from all over the world. Assalamu alaikum. We thank Allah for this time to turn our attention back to Him. Today's topic is conscious remembrance of Allah is life. Conscious remembrance of Allah is life. So I ask you, what's on your mind? The world we live in, right? Many, many things can be on our mind. What's on your mind? Is it Allah or is it something else? When you wake up in the morning, what's on your mind? What's the first thought that comes to your mind? As you prepare to go to work, as you drive yourself to work, what is on your mind? Is your mind on your money and your money on your mind? Or are you thinking about some deal that you're trying to get across in your business? Or are you distracted by the pretty women or the handsome men? What is on your mind? Now, we have so many ways to keep Allah on our tongue and on our mind. And there are many things. In fact, the last ayahs of Surah Ali Imran suggested you read those when you wake up. But we have a little practice we like to say, La ilaha illallah. No, absolutely no God exists except Allah. Wahdahu la sharika lah. He's one. And there's no associates, no partners with Him. Lahu mulk wa lahul hamd. To Him is the sovereign authority and to Him is the praise of gratitude. Biyadihi khayri. In His hand is the best. Yuhyi wa yumitu. He causes life and He causes death. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And Allah has power over everything. So if we start our day with that, and we say that on the way to work and when we're preparing to work, if you get 100 times in, right? Instead of listening to the sports radio in your car or 103.5 news, which is all going to be negative anyway, right? If we put Allah in our mind, then that sets the tone for the day, you see? And when things come up, those remembrances will pop up to protect you from yourself. Oh, that Zayd, it protects me from myself. Because who knows what's in the mind of people, right? So one of the things that we know we've experienced in life, we experience death. You know, He says He created death and life to test. Which of us are going to be best in our conduct? Who's going to be most excellent in conduct? Come on and move up, brothers, before everybody comes in. Thank you. So, some of us, we experience loss, we experience burying a loved one. I know I recently experienced that this past week, actually. And this week, Monday. And we experience other types of things. But one of the things that we notice among us is when someone passes away, we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It's like an automatic thing that we do. And quite often, I don't necessarily hear that phrase outside of people passing away. Do you? I don't. So the mind gets curious. The intellect wants to go into the guidance and look and see what is Allah saying. What is the context that's related to this guidance? So if you look at Surah Al-Baqarah, number 2, verses 155 to 157, and then let's see what we might be able to glean from Allah's words in the language that He uses. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَلَا نَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And we will really test you, all of you. And this test, yes, it is for a purpose. And we will really test you with something from al-khawfi. And the khawfi is a fear that is to be done or influenced in the soul. And it happens to prepare you. And you also test it from hunger and from naqsin, this some decrease, some loss from the wealth, which is money and property, animals, right? And the soul, the self. So we want to experience these things. And from the fruits. And I was thinking about this. I said, well, how can we understand that? And then it came to mind the two in the garden in Surah Al-Kahf, the two brothers that had their garden, and one of them said he thought he had better than his brother, and the one that had less said, remember Allah, right? But the brother did it. He experienced loss in his fruits. His garden was cut down, right? And then he got perspective. You see, would that I have remembered Allah instead of thinking that he was doing it. And then it says, and the good news is for the ones who are patient, who are actively patient right now. I remember coming back from Hajj. We were in the airport in Jeddah. We had been in there about 5 hours, just waiting. And I got a little frustrated. So I told Dr. Hajjaj, I said, man, we've been in here 5 hours, man. What's wrong? What? He said, just be patient. I said, man, I've been patient. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You ever felt like that? Thank you. So this is what he said to me. What are you doing now? That was years ago, but it sticks, right? Because the moment you say you've been patient, you're not being patient no more. You've gone somewhere else. And Allah loves those who are patient. Allah loves and He supports and is with those who are patient. So 156 says, so we got the picture of this loss. Death is not mentioned here. Other kinds of loss. But then the next verse says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ. Those who, when some kind of misfortune or calamity occurs to them, happens to them, قَالُوا, they said, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. So it looks to me that this is a phrase to keep Allah on our mind when things are going maybe undesirable, where we don't want it to go, right? That we remember that we belong to Allah. It's not from Allah we come and to Allah we return. When I look at it, it looks to me to say we belong to Allah. We are Allah's property. And to Him we are returning. Those students of Arabic, you know, raji'un is on the fa'ilun pattern. It's an active noun that means we are returning to Him right now as we speak. How important is it for us to remember that as often as we can? Remember Allah much. So, these tests of decrease and loss in whatever way it comes are to prepare us, to influence our soul, to prepare us. And when these things happen, those who say we belong to Allah and to Him, surely we are returning. Then it says, Ulaika alayhim salawatum min rabbihim. Upon those people who had this calamity, this loss, and they said this, then it says that upon them are prayers from their Lord. That your guardian, your evolver, your sustainer is making prayers on you from this calamity that He sent you to prepare your soul for what's coming. And they define it as a blessing. So if we just look at it from a slightly different angle, whatever is happening to you is a blessing from Allah. If we are conscious enough to acknowledge that we belong to Him and that we're returning to Him right now in this moment. But not only are these prayers from their Lord on them, and it says, وَرَحْمَةٌ, and a mercy. There's a certain kind of mercy. Some of y'all know I'm into mercy these days, right? Maybe all of us can be more into mercy because we follow the Prophet Muhammad. He's a rahmatil alameen. He's a mercy to all of creation, to all of the worlds, all of science. Well, we're supposed to be the same thing. Instead of all this judgment and punishment and hatred that's whirling around all around us, Allah is calling us to mercy and to be merciful and to be forgiving and to love one another. Not just those who pray like we do, but love everybody, everything. But you got to love yourself first, because how can you give away what you don't have? And Allah loves us among His creatures. So they get these prayers from their Lord, this blessing from their Lord, and a mercy. And then that mercy could be defined as ulaika humul muhtadun. It is a guidance. It is a beneficence, a charity from Him, and it is a guidance within themselves. So we offer this for us to think about, right? Because conscious remembrance of Allah is life for real. Let us ask Allah for forgiveness. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Muhammadin abdulluhu wa rasuluhu amma ba'd. So we're just here to remind myself and you and us. I am sent today as to remind us to be conscious of Allah, to keep Allah on our mind, because that is really the only protection for us in this crazy world that we live in. Some might say it's cray-cray, right? That's the young people. It is. And when you go back to work, you're gonna see it. And it's not just at work, it's in us too, because we all are vulnerable. Our soul has been influenced by this environment. And if it's not for the guidance of Allah and His mercy, we don't have a chance. So how do we open up to the mercy of Allah? How do we open up to receive it? Well, isn't Al-Fatiha the opening? In the first verse, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismi Allah, Bismillah, with Allah's name, His characteristic, with His qualities. And we're supposed to say that in everything that we do. Every movement, every action, every work, right? Going into a restroom, right? Before we say our prayers, right? Everything starts with Bismillah, with Allah's name. And when we keep Allah on our mind like this, we think on Allah first, then what comes after? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, right? The mercy. The mercy. But it starts with us acknowledging, accepting, and appreciating the one who created us. And then after that in the second verse, because we're talking about opening up to receive the mercy of Allah. After the second verse, it says, Alhamdulillah, praise of gratitude. And in fact, when you look a little bit further, it is the most perfect praise, appreciation upon Him by His praiseworthiness and His magnificence. This is Allah. And there's no one word we can use to describe His magnificence and His praiseworthiness. But when we have this praise on our tongue and in our heart, because remembrance is really in the heart, every inch of your being, every fiber of your being engaged in remembering Allah, in thinking on Allah, in making your tongue moist with the remembrance of Allah. Because if our mind is not on Allah, then what is it on? Right? Yes. So we start by focusing on His characteristics, and then we state and praise of gratitude to Him. And that leads us to our Rahman and Rahim. Again, mercy beyond what we can even imagine. I mean, He's made your body in such a way that it can sustain injuries, cuts, and all kinds of things. And yet, we live in a place where you can get, service and your body can heal. Oh, Allah. Thank you, Allah. So, as we keep Allah on our minds, our hearts, our thoughts, then we will see and we will experience Allah's mercy. Now we know reciting the book and establishing the salat, and the salat prevents us from immorality, protects us from immorality, and the dhikr of Allah is greater. But all of these things are dhikr. Reciting the Quran is dhikr. In fact, one of the names of the Quran is ad-dhikr, their remembrance. Making salat is designed for dhikr, for remembrance. So these two things are part of the dhikr. And keeping Allah on our tongues is also another way that Allah is greater than anything. But why do we start with praise first? Why does it, Alhamdulillah, actually is sandwiched in between the mercy? If you look at those first two verses, right? Why? It's almost like Allah saying, be grateful to me first. Thank me first. And then I will give you all of this mercy that I have. No matter how merciful you can be as a human being, there's none of us, all of us together in this room and throughout the world, can never be as merciful as Allah is. And when we thank him, then he will give us mercy. So what does it mean? It means that the most perfect appreciation upon him by his praiseworthiness. No one else is worthy of praise except Allah and his magnificence. But how is it used in the guidance? So we're going to share a couple of things, but we like to do a little research and go in the Quran and see how is it used in different contexts. Because everywhere that it says mercy doesn't mean that the mercy is defined exactly the same way. You know, words, phrases have meaning within the context that they exist in. So what are some of the contexts that Allah uses this phrase, Alhamdulillah? Well, it's written in that particular pattern of the word. It's written 28 different times in the Quran. And one of them, the reason that we study the knowledge so we can get understanding. It's hard to move if you don't understand fully, right? In fact, Allah is communicating with us with the Quran. But what is the purpose of any communication? Isn't it to get to shared understanding? And isn't it to prompt some behavioral response that's appropriate for the situation? When you communicated with your kids, you say, hey, you clean that room up. You expected a behavioral response. You expected they understood, and they're going to give you the response that you're looking for. Or at work, if you're supervising people, or you're giving assignments, or even receiving assignment, when that instruction comes, you want to have shared understanding so you can behave properly. So that's why we go into the knowledge, and that's why we seek to understand it. Because when we understand more, then we can behave better. Right? We'll feel better and we can behave better. So one place, Alhamdulillahi alladhi khalaqa samawati wal arda. That he, the praise, this most perfect appreciation because of his praiseworthiness belongs to Allah, the one who created the heavens and the earth. Everything. He created it. Meaning that he caused it to be originated without an example previously. And what it becomes down the road, there was no example of it. So you could just think about the example of you and how you started the sperm and an egg, right? In that dark place. And you went through these stages, right? Embryo, fetus, right? Infant, toddler, all the way up to adulthood and elderly. When he originated your creation, did you know that you were going to become what you've become? Nobody knew. Nobody knew LeBron James was going to become what he's become. I'm a basketball fan. Right? When he was conceived. But yet when you're conceived, everything that you need to reach your full potential is put in you at that moment. Emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, physically, it's all designed in this thing that he originates that there was no pattern like it before. Even your fingertips are unique. So this is khalaqa. And that's different from when something already exists, like you make a piece of furniture out of a tree that already existed, right? Now something exists too with the khalaqa, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So, yes, The praise is to Allah. And then, in another place, this is in Surah Al-A'raf, number 7, verse 43. Alhamdulillahi, alladhi hadana lihada. The praise is to Allah, the one who has guided us to this. Did you get here by yourself? Did you make this happen? This wonderful, fortunate life that you have as one who submits to Allah, who obeys Allah, and even does the extra, worship Him as though you see Him, or although you don't see Him, you know He sees you. Of course we did not do it. When you plant the seed, are you the one that makes it grow, or does Allah make it grow? Yes. The praise belongs to Him, the one who has guided us to this. And never could we have been guided within ourselves if it had not been that Allah has guided us. And we ask for guidance in Al-Fatiha at least 17 times a day. And we ask for His assistance. Do you think that's futile? No. He responds. That's between me and my servant. And my servant will have what he asked for. This world we live in is in darkness, ignorance and foolishness. But Allah is guiding us to the light. In 18:1, He made the Quran descend from heaven, and it highly agitates the mind and the emotion of the obedient worshiper. You know, this is the book that's guidance, no doubt. Nothing in it to make you insecure. But it's for those who have the consciousness, right? For the people that don't have the consciousness, the people that are disobedient, they're not going to get the benefit of this. It doesn't agitate their mind and emotion. People read the Quran, but they don't feel anything. You know, it doesn't do anything to excite their mind to progress. But that's what it's designed to do. And that's what it is doing. In another place, 23:28, Alhamdulillahi, alladhi najjana min al-qawmi al-zalimin. The praise, the most perfect appreciation upon Him. The one who saved us from the wrongdoing people, the oppressive people. Don't you know we've been saved from that? If we're adhering to this guidance, can't you see in your life Allah has saved you from the oppressors? From the wrongdoers? He even saved you from doing wrong to your own self. And when Allah shows up, He shows up to us with mercy, not justice. Because we're going to go off. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have laws. We're going to, be unconscious of God. But He shows up and gives us mercy. Yes. David and Solomon were given a certain type of knowledge. And they said the praise of appreciation belongs to Allah, the one who has favored us over many of His obedient, trusting servants. Now with favor comes what? Responsibility, right? You don't receive a gift without having responsibility to use it and show your gratitude that way. And He is Allah, La ilaha illa huwa. Absolutely no God exists except Him. And to Him belongs the praise in the first, in the beginning, and in the last, in the end. And to Him, all of you will be returning. The praise belongs to Allah. But most of the people, they don't know. You know, the word for knowledge and the word for action had the same letters in it in Arabic. You know, we're not supposed to know so we can just write papers and talk. We're supposed to know so we can work. We can do something with it. But most of the people, they don't know. They don't acknowledge Allah. It's like they don't want to say Allah. Not knowing the benefits, the peace that comes with keeping Allah on our mind and our heart. And most of them are not using their intelligence. It's intelligent to acknowledge your master and to work to please your master. That's any slave would do that. The one who clothes you, the one who feeds you, the one who keeps you safe, the one who gives you shelter, right? The one who allows you to procreate and live on through another generation. And the last one we share is in 35-34, وَقَالُوا, and they said, Alhamdulillah, Alladhi idhaba anna al-hazzan, the one who has removed from us grief and sorrow. You know, those who are conscious, and again, conscious remembrance of Allah is life, because it's kind of like when you sleep, what's the last thing you think of before you go to sleep? Is it Allah? Is it something in the Quran? Right? And try to drive this home. Anybody that's had some type of surgery, you know, where they big surgery or little surgery, where they put you to sleep, they sedate you, right? And they tell you, okay, we're going to put this medicine in your IV. You're going to go to sleep for a little while, right? Okay. So what do you say before that? Huh? I'm going to say Al-Fatiha as much as I can get in. What are you going to say? Right? Before you go to sleep. This is what I'm trying to, because everybody hadn't had surgery, but you get the picture, right? Everybody gets the picture, right? So what do you say before you go to sleep? You acknowledge Allah. And then when you wake up from that sedation, because when you are out, you're not conscious. Right? You sleep, you're not conscious. But when you wake up, consciousness is restored to you. And maybe your eyes are still closed, but you become conscious in your mind. What do you say? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Lahu mulku lahu alhamdu biyadihi khayru yuhyi wa yumitu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in. Alhamdulillah. Allah comes to your mind. So whether we're talking about, when you have a serious surgery, there's health thing, you're serious now. We're going to remember Allah. But can't we do the same thing tonight before we go to sleep? Can't we have Al-Fatiha on our tongue? Or some surah, or just subhanallah, anything. We have Allah on our mind before we sleep, before we become unconscious. He could take your soul and not put it back in your body. Right? Because the angels are going to come on time. They're going to do their duty with no delay. And if he lets you wake up, don't think just because you go to bed that you're going to wake up. I know people, they say, well, the first thing you're going to do tomorrow is wake up. Inshallah, you're going to wake up. Because Allah is the one who puts your soul back in that body, allows you to wake up. So the least we can do when we come back to consciousness is to have him on our mind and on our heart and on our tongue. And if we do that, we have this consciousness, then we will have life. We will have life for real. We'll have the best life. And we do have the best life as long as we are following Allah's guidance. And we are. To the best we can. To the best we can. Do your best. Do your best. And be consistent with whatever that is that you can do. That's all that's really required. And he does the rest. He's doing it anyway. Right? So we might as well comply So we thank Allah for this opportunity. We thank you all for your energy, your attention, your hearts, your minds. And we pray Allah will continue to bless us with His mercy and His forgiveness. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا ارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد عبده الكريم وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله.
Is Imam Talib here? Is Imam Talib Sharif here?
No, he's not here.
Okay. Then you may have to move this.
Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Takbir. 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 We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having us here at Salatul Jumah, and we thank Imam Dr. Zayd Karim for that excellent khutbah. Those who can, we have a few announcements. Those who can stay a couple minutes, and don't forget to leave your charity as you leave. We need it, and it's one of our principles of our faith. The next share distribution will be July the 21st at 6 a.m. We need all hands on deck for that. There's a weekly Arabic class every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. See Brother Rasul Salim. Computer training class, see Brother Ali, who runs that, Ali Muhammad. Every Monday and Thursday here at Masjid Muhammad, we have an iftar year-round. Right after Salatul Maghrib, everyone is invited. This Sunday from 10 to 10:30 a.m., the first Study al-Islam session with the topic of the night journey or the Isra al-Mi'raj will begin with presenter Imam Kazim Ahmed, and the call-in number for that is 712-770-4160, access code 684-0112, and then a pound. The Kibar nutrition site for the seniors is Monday through Thursday from 10 to 1 p.m. It's halal food. If you don't know about it and you're interested, see the office downstairs or contact Shelly Ali. The New Africa Global Initiative, in which we're asking business people to sign up and post your businesses. That's ongoing. See Brother Saifuddin Majid and Brother Muhammad Abdul Malik. This Saturday, tomorrow, from 4 to 6, is the monthly family game night. So come and bring your family, your children, and enjoy a wholesome environment in which we come together and we socialize and play games, board games, etc. The Boy Scouts Safety Fair is also tomorrow from 11 to 3 p.m. here at Masjid Muhammad. There'll be demonstrations, exhibits, etc. All are welcome. and there's a small donation cost, $5 for children and $10 for adults. This Sunday, we have an invited guest. We'll be hosting Brother Akbar Muhammad with a book signing on his travels. He's the international representative of Minister Farrakhan, and he has a new book, and he'll be here for a Q&A and a book signing and a lecture, and that's at 1:30 to 3 p.m. this Sunday. Everyone is invited, and it's free and open to the public. There's a play called Not Without My Hijab and a bus trip to New York City on July the 14th. Those interested in going, see Sister Halima D. Oliveira, also the office downstairs. The cost, including the bus trip, I believe is $90. Community Life Forward is going on in Atlanta next weekend, Friday through Sunday. Go to CLF2018.org to register. There's a new Africa writing contest going on. The website is www.katibliteracyjournal.org, and I'm sure they have prizes for those who have the best literacy input to that. And don't forget about the 29th Annual Muslim Convention going on in Newark, New Jersey, August the 31st through September the 2nd. And to register for that, you go to www.muslimconvention.net. And that's all my announcements. Brother Albert has an announcement, important announcement. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Just wanted to bring your attention that we don't have this presentation today, but hopefully it should happen next week. We've been given for the last 4 years book scholarship at $1,000 in the name and in the legacy of Imam Abdul Ali Shabazz. We didn't have the student here today. Unfortunately, there was something that family occurred, so therefore she will be coming back tomorrow, next week, inshallah. Want to also emphasize a couple of things. One, we're going to be announcing and giving you more information on our drive to secure the senior bus. This is very important. We got a glimpse of the future this week by looking and seeing the senior bus. So look forward to additional fundraising for the senior bus. I want to go back and re-emphasize something that Imam Bilal said in reference to this Sunday. Now, Brother Akbar, I know him. I know he has traveled in Africa many times. I know he has a business acumen. So I know he knows how to open doors on the continent. So we need your presence here Sunday at 1:30 to see how to open doors and continue to open those doors when it comes to doing business in Africa. So again, your presence is much needed in the conversation at the table so that we can all do business in Africa. So alhamdulillah, please be here Sunday 1:30. Assalamu alaikum.